You know something's up when stewing in a very hot room suddenly feels okay. What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and welcome to, I would say, the long-awaited discussion for the one, the only, The Owl House, with its final episode finally aired, finally out, and for so much being out there for us to discuss for it. Um, I am still absolutely shocked by that episode. I mean, like it's been a week, and it's just like, how has it only been a week? There's just still so much that it's ha, ha. But I needed a week to be able to just digest a lot of what I saw with the episode. I needed a week to just adjust to basically just everything that happened with that episode, and I didn't know how I was gonna be able to get my thoughts together for recording this, but I think having had the week to think about a lot of it and now having kind of baked over and stewed here in this room, it's hot out here. I'm just going to say that right now. It's hot. It's sticky. I don't really feel good with a lot of this, but it's fine. We're here to discuss Owl House. I love the Owl House, and that's actually the one partly positive thing that I'm doing with today. um, whatchamacallit. Um, Before I do get into anything else, I should put a big spoiler warning right here. Of course, I am going to be discussing a lot of things that happen in the final episode. So if you haven't seen the final episode yet, or haven't seen any of season 3 yet, please go watch on the official Disney YouTube channel. They have posted the entirety of season 3. I highly recommend you go see it because I think there is something to seeing all of season 3 all like sewn together the way that they have it there. And I think you're in for a wild ride with that. Or if you haven't seen The Owl House in general, watch The Owl House. It's a really good show. It's another one of those shows that I would say is up there for me as far as shows that mean the absolute world to me. I have a plan to eventually write another video essay, kind of along the lines of this one, talking about how much Owl House means to me as far as a show, as far as what everything means to me for it. I'm not quite ready to record something like that yet, but we'll get to it. We'll eventually record something like that because I mean, there's a lot I could say for it. Now that the show is over, I can have more time to like synthesize a lot of what's happened. But for now, I'm going to discuss what it is I feel this episode did really, really well. Um, and of course, there are some things I am also going to discuss and say I would have loved to have seen more of from this particular episode. But I also fully acknowledge that it's mostly just the timing that they had for it and a lot of other factors that were at play with it. I think given everything that happened, they put on a phenomenal show. I think that they did amazing with everything that they worked on for this particular episode of The Owl House. I'm not here to knock it. I'm not here to say, oh yeah, they could have done this better or anything like that. There are some things I definitely would like, but I mean, that's with every show. I think like every show, there's that one thing you would have loved to have seen, and that's fine. Because something that I definitely believe is that like the best shows have their faults, and I'm not just saying because we're all different human beings. We interpret information and see things in such different ways. But I think more so, there's something that's so organic about seeing a show have some faults to it, have some things that you would have loved to have seen more of, and that kind of thing. And that makes it feel like it is more so a passion project. It's something that someone actually poured like heart and soul into. And I'm not saying that there are shows out there that don't feel like that, but there's something special about the Owl House in that it's one of the rare shows that still like gets a really emotional reaction out of me. Ruby still gets an emotional reaction out of me. There are shows that definitely do still make me cry, make me laugh, make me feel things for whatever happens. And it's because the shows feel more alive because of those faults. And I'm here to kind of discuss some of those that I felt for it, but I'm not here to talk about any of this in a negative light. I adore the Owl House to pieces, and I just want to take this time to be able to express some of the love that I feel for it. Um, and I guess I'm going to start this off with just the arcs and the development of so many of these characters. Um, I think that they wrapped up the Collector so beautifully. I mean, they introduced the Collector suddenly. We got very little time with him over the course of the whole run of the Owl House. We knew some things about him, but we never really got a sense of like, what is this collector's deal and that kind of thing. And I mean, for the time that they had to introduce and everything like that, I feel like they did a phenomenal job. And just his development from being like the not villain, but like the what would you want to call it? The person masquerading as a threat in the show or something like that, or someone who's like an all powerful being who people are afraid of, into becoming an ally and into his like arc of realizing that there are things that die and understanding the world around him and wanting to be able to change himself and grow. I think they did a phenomenal job showing that. And I mean, just the welcoming and acceptance of Luz and all of the Owl Gang is something that just I've always appreciated that in them. I've always loved they've just accepted who they are and they accept anyone else for any walks that they follow because they're the weirdos and they accept that of themselves and they're accepting of everyone from every other walk of life. And I respect that so much in them. Then I will say there are the other arcs of reflecting on Luce as a character, her growth from the beginning, realizing that we got to the end of a chapter for her, and the way they dovetailed into a brand new chapter for her, I thought was so great. It was great seeing just how much she absolutely loves Ida, how much she loves the Boiling Isles, and loves this new home that she's gotten to explore and just that development from the beginning I thought was really, really well done. Just from the get go, having Luz face so many of the guilt that she could be feeling for everything that she's done, and like hitting hard on Luz's conviction and getting to explore just the entire arc that this poor girl's gone through to get to where we are now and seeing just how that reflects on the how other people have been influenced by Luce. Seeing, I think I wrote a video on this before already, but like talking about how Amity has changed from the beginning of the show to now, and seeing that again blossom here was beautiful. Seeing Willow gain confidence, seeing Gus develop, seeing Hunter develop because of Luce was so well done for this. Seeing how Ida changed and developed, even just in these little moments here, touching on her guilt, touching on her growth since becoming the owl beast and her growing to have a family and growing to love and care for other people that aren't herself. I thought was really strong. And then King coming into his own and realizing his full potential here, which I think was the biggest thing we got from King. He grew up. He grew up and there's something that is so interesting about that because King was always just a character. He was someone that I loved seeing on screen. He was someone that did stand out on his own, but there wasn't really enough to him that was like, giving him a full arc. Realizing that he was a Titan, realizing his past, and realizing so much more. He was a kid. And seeing just get to the end of this, how much he's grown and developed was beautiful. And I loved getting to see that for it really just in general, this whole episode touches on a lot of things. I just love getting to see character development. It showed us a glimpse into the future of where these characters are heading. We got to see characters reach their full potential after so long developing who they are and developing the trials ahead of them. And we got a reunion episode. And I love reunion episodes so much. It's what I loved about Volume 5, what made me cry for it, what made me cry here. These characters have been through so much, and to finally just have this one victory in that we finally got Luz to reunite with who I would dare say is like a second mother figure to her, or someone who, raised her and spent so much time with her mentor and her brother. Having the two of them get to reunite in that way made me cry so much. And seeing just the little things there, Ida gushing over the talisman, just the look on her face, that smile meant so much to me because of the fact that they're a family. They're a family above everything else, and getting to see that blossom on screen, I thought was beautiful. And that's saying all of that without going into discussing how beautiful the animation for so many of these scenes were. Like seeing the animation for Luz when she gained the power of the Titan, seeing the animation for the fight against Belos with Rain, touching on Rain so much. I love seeing that Rain is so powerful. Like just the little development there for him made me appreciate Rain that much more. And I adored Rain from the moment that they were on screen. I absolutely, absolutely adore Rain as a character. They are great. I absolutely adore seeing anything that has to do with them and Ida. I love seeing anything that has to do with them just in general, and just sticking it to Bellows was really, really cool. And again, it touches on the collector's development now, just that understanding of kindness and acceptance, which I love having that as an arc. I really do think the world needs more kindness and acceptance, and just their touching on that I thought was cool. And they touched on so many points that I know a lot of us were asking for. And I mean, I know they didn't have as much time as they probably would have liked to have touched on absolutely everything, but what they touched on was great. Getting to finally see Ida and Camila finally meet with each other. Getting to see Belos finally defeated. Finally see the end of this. Finally see the Collector coming around to becoming an ally was all great and fantastic to see. Of course, there's some things I want to see, and there's some stuff that I would have loved to have gotten to learn more about. Evelyn being the biggest thing. We understand Caleb and Philip's backstory and how that led to them being at the Boiling Isles, but where does Evelyn fit into this? Like, I think I've heard enough people say that there is the theory of it's a Clawthorn, that Evelyn is related to the Clawthorn family, and that's probably right. But who? What? Where? Why? Where did the door come from? Where did any of this really start? Those are some things that I definitely would have loved to have gotten to see. And it's like the Evelyn Flapjack connection. There's always something to that where I'm like, okay, where's this coming from? Like, what was all of this for? And I would have loved to have seen that. In the end of the day, like, it doesn't matter. I mean, like, we got the sense of where Bellows developed from. We got the sense of how Bellows came to be where he is now. And we got enough reason to understand why he's the bad guy and why he wants to defeat him. And he's so much more complex than just the bad guy. And that development, I thought, over the show was so good. Of course, again, would have loved to have heard about that. Do I need it at the end of the day? No. But it's something that, would have been nice to have gotten to see. Same thing I say with King's father. Few seconds he spent on screen, he just blew my absolute world, and I just absolutely loved him. Just from the way he talked to just the overall kindness that he showed, and the remorse he felt for the Collector, because it shows a shade of things. The Collector's not just evil. The Titan is not just evil. Bellows, okay, he was just evil, but I mean, he even had like development and shades to him. Getting to see King's father was great. Would I have loved to have learned, how he ended up in that realm, why we were saying that he's dying, anything like that? Absolutely yes. Would I have loved to have seen an ending where he ends up reuniting with King? Yes. Did we need that? No. Honestly, the ending that we got was just fine as it was. Ida is happy, or Ida has King. She's taking care of King. King is happy with that. That's all we need for King. I think that's all King really needs for it. And I'm sure, like, there's an arc I know where he said he was longing for the answers. I feel like we've gotten to the point with him now where he has everything he needs. He has the answers he was always looking for. Everything is fine. And it feels like we've really wrapped everything up way more nicely than I ever thought we would. Like, hearing that we'd only have 3 episodes for the finale, I was worried so much of this would have been rushed. And I will say, like, yes, there are things that we might have wanted, but not a single part of this felt underdeveloped, felt rushed, felt like it was just there as like a last ditch effort to try to like race to the finish line. No, they capped everything off, and they left us on a beautiful ending with, I'd say, the best ending line of bye, of just like, this is the family we've gotten to grow and see develop over the course of the show, and it was great to see. Thank you, Dana, for all your work making this show. Thank you so much for bringing the show to us. Of course, I want to make a whole video discussing just how much this whole show and how much of this world you've given to us means to me. But I just don't have the time to do that now, and it's a lot of thoughts that I need to kind of sift through to get to that point. So that'll be a video for another day. But that being said, I think that just about wraps up all my thoughts on it. There are definitely also some other characters that I would have loved to have seen a little bit more of over the course of the finale, but again, it's Luz's story at the end of the day. It is like her focus that we're trying to be on, and it's like the beautiful thing about the Owl House is that it did so much for its other characters beforehand, and now that we're in the final season, it makes sense that it's all about Luz, so I'm not knocking anything for that. But I certainly would have loved to have seen so much more for so many of these other characters, but I've accepted it. It is what it is. And with all that being said, I think we're going to wrap things up here. Thank you guys so much for watching. Uh, Thank you guys so much for sticking with me and for enjoying all the videos that I've done so far. I hope you'll enjoy this one. If you don't, I hope that this does at least inspire you to go check out the Owl House again, because suggesting that you're watching this, you've probably seen the final episode and you're just hearing me blab on at this point. Um, but I hope you enjoy it all. With that being said, my name is Mustafa, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.